in Division III. And Tim Hartje joining us from the Air Force Academy. Tim, welcome back to the show. I got to ask you a non-hockey question. You're a Minnesota guy. Do you feel like I do, like we're chasing this carrot to try to get back to the Super Bowl, or for us to get there for once?
That's right. Yes, it's been a long time for the Vikings. There's a lot of heartache, missed field goals, just you name it. It's one thing after another. I've enjoyed the rise of the Lions the last couple of years, but I'm definitely a Viking fan, and it came down to that last game of the regular season.
Oof.
And I thought the Lions were going to move on, but that's the nature of pro sports.
Boy, it sure is. Any given Sunday, in any sport, I mean, you just can't take anything for granted. Not that the Lions did, but boy, if you're off just a little bit, man, if another team is good, they'll take advantage of it. Boy, didn't the Redskins in that one, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Good for you.
Well, we'll commiserate about football next year, because I know there's changes. I don't know if Sam Darnold's going to be back for you guys, and I don't know what our coaching staff's going to bring, but it'll be a lot of fun to keep an eye on anyways. Yeah. Tim, you guys are off to a phenomenal start this year. I'm not going to ask you to give me all your secrets, but wow, it's nice to come this late in the season without any regular season losses.
Yeah, that's true. Well, thanks for having me, Lou, and talk a little bit about Air Force hockey. It's all about the cadets in the program. They're really committed. I'm just always impressed. I've been doing this for 13 years now, and they kind of sucked me in early on, and it's just something that really drives anyone and really inspires pretty much anyone when you're associated with the cadets and in their commitment to the program. But that's kind of secondary. Obviously, it's the Air Force Academy experience, and they understand the bigger picture. But just a wonderful group of young men to work with every year for the last 13 years. And we're having another good season this year, but we understand there's a long ways to go, and a lot of good teams ahead of us to be ready for.
Well, Tim, you talk about the dedication and everything that they have, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But a question that I don't know if I asked you this when you were on before, but when you're recruiting players for your team, it's obviously different than like a Calvin or a Hope College or anybody really that's not a service academy. What different ways do you recruit guys to get on the team?
Well, it's a good point. We don't really recruit per se.
Yeah.
These young men, they get in on their own. Most of them do know, or they've heard about the club program. They kind of contact me, to be honest with you. Okay. So it's a little bit reverse recruiting. And if they have an opportunity to make a trip out to Colorado in the summer or whenever, in between seasons, I'm happy to meet with them, show them around the Air Force Academy. I went to school here, so I have that experience to draw from. But if they get in, I have no pull to get them into the academy. So if they get in, that's awesome. The program's here for them. If they want to find hockey as a little bit of an outlet from the daily grind of being an Air Force Academy cadet, the program's here for them, but we understand there's other challenges as well. So we try to keep it all in perspective when they come out, or if I talk to them on the phone or whatever, I tell them what to expect, and, they're more than willing to commit to it. And I couldn't be more pleased with the product, the cadets that we have in the program, and the product we're able to put on the ice year in and year out.
We talked about, the discipline you just mentioned, that it's secondary, and the schedule, that the daily schedule that they have, practice is secondary. Is it ever, with everything that they've got going on, Tim, is it ever a challenge? Maybe do they lose focus in practice? Does that make any sense when I ask you that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll go back to the 80s when I played here. Sometimes we had those cadet practices the coach talked about, or a cadet game. It was a cadet game. It's just like we're just really spent. We're just exhausted.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to step away, recharge a little bit, and reset, and then come back. But over the years, I work closely with the cadets in the program, so I get their buy-in and their commitment. However far they want to take the program, I'm willing to ride along. But if it's too much, we'll step back. We'll, allow them to do some of their military commitments, get to their academic call to quarters in the evening at a decent time, making sure they're getting the proper nutrition and sleep, if that's possible, at the academy. But we work hard. When we're together at practice, I expect, hey, we're down at the rink. Let's put in the time and the effort. And then when you leave the rink, let's focus on that part of the academy too. So it's a good formula. I think we've worked out over the years. It's a good blend. Again, hockey's kind of an outlet. Obviously, they have a passion for the game.
Yeah.
They want to continue playing hockey once they get to the academy, but there's bigger things out there. It's a 4-year program. They graduate in May of their senior year, and they're an officer in the Air or Space Force ready to lead our nation's airmen or guardians in the Space Force. So that's what we're doing collectively. We're trying to develop these fine young men ready to serve their country when they graduate.
Tim, I look at your team. Obviously, we said it at the top. I'm trying not to put the Maloik on you, undefeated in the regular season, but the firepower on offense. You guys, Brett Oberle, 50 points, 7 power play goals. Cooper Belanger, Mackenzie Miller, just to name 3 of them. You fellas can put the puck in the net. Those are some gaudy numbers.
Yeah, and oftentimes, I'm kind of the GM now, so I can kind of sit back and enjoy that from the bench, the skill and the high level of play, and I appreciate that. There's some talented players on the team. Mackenzie Miller's been with our program. He's a senior now. He started as a freshman, was lighting it up as a freshman, and he's been to some national tournaments and continuing to do a fine job here as a senior, and it's fun to watch those cadets grow as leaders on the team, and their confidence. You can just see how they exude confidence by the time they're a senior. He's our senior team captain now, willing to stand up in front of his teammates and tell them to do the right thing. Hey, we're representing the academy on and off the ice, everything we do, and I look to those strong leaders in the program to make sure that we're heading in the right direction. So it's always fun to see them rewarded. On the score sheet, we've got, 4 lines that we can roll, and whether they're at the top of the score sheet or just contributing in other ways, it's really the entire team coming together with the collective goal of enjoying the competition, and obviously they're competitive. These cadets are very competitive. They like to win. There's no doubt about it. But it's the process that I enjoy the most and being a part of it.
And Tim, and I look at the back end. Your goaltending. All 3 of them. Their save percentages are over 900, and the goals against are under 3. I mean, it's a total team effort right there. It's like Andre Stanton, he's played 3 games. He's only allowed 7 goals. I mean, that's in, Kelly Kane, the same thing, 21 goals in 10 games. I mean, that's, or 11 games. That's amazing.
Yep. Kelly and Andre Stanton, we're very confident with those guys between the pipes. Team plays well ahead of them, in front of them. But we continue to emphasize the defensive end of the game. So the guys work hard in the defensive zone, and that's a point of emphasis pretty much going into most of our games. But we have the confidence if there's a breakdown. Our goaltenders have been up to the challenge and made some, super saves when we needed it the most. And, it's good to have some confidence between the pipes. When we made nationals a few years ago, we were down to one goaltender, and he got hurt in our practice out at nationals. So that we kind of limped through that one.
I remember that. Yeah,
we're kind of enjoying the fact that now we have several goaltenders in our program that we have a little more depth there and a high level of skill between the pipes.
Okay, but I have to ask you this. Great goaltending, and I'm not. Whenever it looks like whenever you play a Colorado team, you guys just say let the defense stay home. I see some of these scores 9-5 or 9-3, 8-5, 14-6 against Colorado College. I mean, it sounds like you guys are just going to town, and both teams decide to leave their put the defenseman all up by the by the goalie.
Yeah, Colorado College, we've had some success, so we will get the best from most of the teams that we're playing. So we understand that. We don't want to take anyone lightly. We got a lot of players in the game against CC, but we learned from that game too. Colorado School of Mines, if you're looking at Colorado School of Mines, they're legit. They're ranked right where they should be this year. We have a home and home again coming up with them here in a couple weeks. So they put a good schedule together this year, and we're looking forward to that opportunity to line up against them. Again, we played them twice this year, and I think they're better because of it. We're better because of it, and we're looking for the next opportunity to play them.
How's the game changed in the 13 years that you've been involved with the program?
Well, for our team specifically, just more higher end players. Yeah. We've always had some very skilled players. They come in from Minnesota, Michigan, we got Vermont, you name it. We've had highly skilled players from most states, but we haven't had the depth of skill that we've had here in the last year or two. We built on the team that we had last year. So the skill level, the speed, definitely. Our systems haven't changed that much. We still stress the defensive end and in playing the hard part of the game. That's very important. That just takes commitment, and that these guys are willing to put in the hard work in practice and in the games, the hard back checks and just playing real tough defensively. So I appreciate that part of the game. But then on the attack end, where the skill is kind of on as a showcase with their skill and their talents, there's just more of that through the lineup, and just more speed. We've got Jason Kleinhans, who's a senior now too, another strong leader on our team. Just one of the best skaters I've ever seen, and one of the heaviest shots that you'll see. He scored some big goals in the Nationals last year. It's just fun to watch him skate. He can really fly through the neutral zone and into the attack, kind of fearless type player. Very competitive. And then the other players pick up on that type of play. But you can't lose yourself on the attack end either. So you got to come back, and that's a constant reminder just to play the hard part of the game, and the skill part will just show itself as we go through a game for sure.
And Tim, I think the ACHA as a whole has grown with the talent level and leaps in the 10 years that I've been broadcasting games and doing this show. You can see the talent level on all the divisions is grown exponentially in the last decade.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the 16 teams, there's more teams that are deserving to get in. Oakland probably was deserving to get in last year, and some other teams, Notre Dame, Michigan, some top teams that I'm sure would have had a great showing at the Nationals. And that's right. I mean, you just look at the number of schools and the number of skilled players playing hockey throughout the country now. It's really incredible. And the competition level at Nationals is definitely, every year it seems to get even more intense, which makes it great for spectators, players. And it's really something that we circle on the schedule each year and aspire to try to get back, but we don't take it for granted either.
So let's knock on wood, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. You guys, make it back. What extra preparation do the boys have to do to get the time to go away, to play for 5 days or whatever down in St. Louis?
Right. Well, a little bit of that is scheduling.
Okay.
The last couple tournaments, we didn't have a lot of games before the Nationals. This year, just a couple weeks ago, we had a 3-game weekend. So that's intentional. Hey, we got to get ready, play hard, game 1, okay? Learn from that one, wash it out, get ready for game 2. So we played 3 consecutive games, so that helped. Mm-hmm. We got a trip coming up through Nebraska. We'll play 3 games on the road. I think that'll help us as well. And I'm not taking for granted we're going to qualify, but, if we take each game as a separate opportunity to play our style of game, our type of game, I think that'll just help us, be better prepared for the stiff competition that we'll face at Nationals. And we've been there too. So it's one of those things, hey, we know what to expect. Yeah. But,
that's a big advantage, isn't it?
Right. It's a puck bounce here or there. And, it's the outcomes are decided just by the little play. So you got to be at your best when you need to be at your best. And that's what we're stressing as we head into the second part of the season. So
if you get any free time, do you follow the NHL? And if you do, who's your team?
Well, I grew up in Minnesota. I'm a Minnesota guy. My mom keeps me posted up on the Wild, and she likes Kaprizov and the Wild. And, if I can pull up ESPN and watch them, I'll definitely take the opportunity to do that. But I appreciate the Avs too. I've lived here since 2009. So I really appreciate what the Avs have done, and McKinnon and McCarr. And, those players are just exceptional and phenomenal. Just fun to watch in person too. I mean, they just fly up and down the ice. So that's kind of a treat. But I'm a Wild guy for sure.
You didn't you didn't stick with the North Stars when they moved to Dallas then, huh?
Well, they took the North out of the Stars.
Right. Well, yes, sir, they did.
Yeah, that still kind of bugs us. But over time, it doesn't get any easier. And they kept the green and gold and silver, whatever colors they tried to add there. But
I still can't believe they moved away. That was one that always puzzled me,
That was a tough one. We had the old Met Center, so we didn't have the suites at the time. They needed a new rink, and the owner took them to Dallas. But we did experience a national tournament down there, and the Stars hosted that. So they kind of made amends in my mind. Just the way they rolled out the carpet, and there was Dallas Stars everywhere. That was kind of neat. So they do appreciate the importance of growing the sport in the South and the U.S. So Minnesota's got their team now, so I guess we're okay.
So if you can indulge me one more time, Tim, tell us what a daily routine would be for the boys that, for a guy or a gal that plays at what I call a regular institution. What would a typical day entail for the guys on the team?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, we've got what we call a schedule of calls, a daily schedule of calls, and that starts at about 0600. So cadets are rolling out of their bed, getting ready for some military duty in the morning for about 35 minutes. They get their uniforms ready, get in formation, head over to breakfast. Sometimes breakfast is optional. Some academic courses require graded reviews. We call them GRs, but exams in the morning before normal class periods. But the first class period kicks off at 8 o'clock. And there's 4 class periods in the morning before lunch. And then there's about an hour and a half of lunch period where the cadets come back to the room, make sure the room is in good order, fall out of their squadron areas, march to lunch, do a lunch. They can eat lunch in 15 minutes from the time of sit down to serving, to eating. And then they're heading off to maybe 30 minutes of military training or some extra instruction with some instructors. And then there's a couple more academic periods in the afternoon. And then they come down to the athletic area if they want to, get a workout in. We're only practicing a couple times a week right now.
Okay.
With all the games that we're playing on the weekend. So I think that's a big enough commitment. But I'll see the cadets. I work down here in the athletic department, so I see my players down here all the time. They're hitting the gym. They pretty much as a team and that type of thing. So they're doing what they need to do to make sure that they're physically fit and ready to go. But it's an outlet too to come. We call it down the hill. Behind me here is up on the hill, the cadet area where the dorms are, the academic building, the dining hall, the cadet chapel's up there. But then, so they have a 3-hour block in the late afternoon into the early evening where we call it personal time. So obviously our intercollegiates, our NCAA teams are down here that entire time and even earlier. They get an earlier start in the afternoon, so they'd spend their hours down here. But the cadets have 3 hours of personal time to kind of recharge and recover, do whatever they would like to do. And then they'll have a 30-minute military time up in their squadron area just before a 2.5-hour academic call to quarters. And then it's typically lights out taps at 2300. So that's 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So that's a long answer from 6 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Pretty much they're going 5 days a week. But they get into a routine. They understand and learn how to prioritize and manage their schedules. That's part of the whole program that, you can't just focus in one area. We could have the greatest athletes down here in the athletic department, but if they're not excelling in the military side and taking the academics serious and putting in the time and hitting the books, they're missing out on one of the growth pillars that are essential in developing our leaders at the Air Force Academy. So we stress the academic, the military, and the athletics. It's a daily routine, and the cadets, it's pretty incredible how they manage their daily activities and take care of what they need to take care of to excel in the academics. And then they come down here and they're highly competitive athletes. So again, I mentioned earlier, it's just a joy to be around that. It's inspiring. You look forward to coming, I don't even call it to work, but coming through the base every day and interacting with the cadets in physical education classes, and then seeing my team in the afternoons. I feel pretty fortunate.
Well, I can tell just by the tone of your voice. And I, number one, want to thank you and thank them for, obviously your service and their service and what they're doing for our country and getting ready for that. And I admire them for that. And as I said at the top of our interview here, the dedication that they have, the self-discipline to be able to do this is just, it's phenomenal. And it should be pointed out and commended, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate that too, Lou. I'll take that back to my team.
Please do.
And they know, when we travel, again, we're trying to represent the academy is the best way we can, and that's putting on the uniform. But it's more than just how we play on the ice. It's our actions off the ice too. So I'll definitely take that. They take great pride in that. I appreciate it.
Well, Tim, thanks for taking time out to be with us tonight. This has been fun. I hope that you guys make it down to, to St. Louis. So, if you do, or when you do, if you see me down there, please pull me aside and say hi. And if I see you, I'll make sure to come up and shake your hand and say hi to you. Look forward to it.
I certainly will. Thanks, Lou. Appreciate it.
All right. Tim Hartje.